My name is Abhishek. I'm generally used to saying my name is Abhishek. Welcome back to my channel. But this time I'm here Saturday morning. Good to see all of you. So I'll be talking about AIOps. Okay, so the session is going to be very simple. I'll talk about what is AIOps, the current state, the future, and popular AIOps projects. But let's try to keep it a little conservative. Uh, let's try to engage in the session. So, why did I choose this session? Okay, let me start with this. So, there are a lot of topics. Why did I pick this up? So, the word AIOps, it's actually the word in disguise. A lot of people, when you hear this word AIOps, so you think, okay, this is something that I know, but unfortunately, it is something where a lot of people get it wrong. Let's do a small quiz. Okay, I have two options here. What do you think is AIOps? AIOps, the first option, raise your hands if you think this is the one. Using AI for automating DevOps, like practices like Kubernetes, maybe using AI to write your Docker file, maybe using AI to write Kubernetes manifest. How many of you think this is AIOps? Okay. And the other one, AI for IT operations, let's say monitoring or observability, incident management. Raise your hands. Okay. Good. Good. Good number of people actually got it right. But still, we have few hands in the house who think AIOps is automating DevOps. Unfortunately, this practice, even I've seen a lot of people, you know, top platforms, edtech platforms selling courses on AIOps as AI automating DevOps. So I'm here to break the myth, and I'm sure by the end of this session, you will leave with a positive note that you understand AIOps. Cool. So I usually believe in why. I personally feel if you want to understand a topic, if you want to master it, you should first understand the why aspect of it. So we'll do the same thing today as well. Why AIOps? Okay, let me take a scenario and let's start it from there. How many of you are DevOps engineers? Okay, good, good. So if you are a DevOps engineer, SRE engineer, and typically if you are supporting your production environment, this logo must be a nightmare, right? Right? So how many times you woke up to this? In fact, when I was working back then, uh, I used to feel this is my alarm, and there is no particular time you get this message or you get this alert, right? So I choose this random timing. Let's say 2:13 a.m. There is a production incident. Let's understand how typically a company goes through this incident, right? So the first thing, okay, you get this notification on the mobile. I don't want to haunt you, but this is how this actually looks like. And instantly, what typically people do as soon as they see the notification on mobile, they head to Slack, right? We all do that, right? Because in the hope that someone else might have fixed the issue. Typically, I would have done that because I don't want to resolve an issue 3 a.m. in the night. Definitely not, right? So I go to Slack, but unfortunately, Slack, it leaves you with a bad taste. You see a lot of alerts. You know why? Because whenever this happens, there are always over enthusiastic people in the company, right? And they feel they debug the issue. So someone says, I actually know the issue. Issue is with DB replica sync. So I'll create a war room and randomly pull 15 people into the war room. It's 2 a.m. for them also, but yeah, that's okay. And someone says, not at all. This is the issue with the network. I have been telling this from last 3 months. We did not have our networking right. And there goes another war room. On top of all of this, PagerDuty is also doing its job, right? It also created a war room. Now it says, you give me the hierarchy, I'll pull in the right people. I'll pull in the CEO, I'll pull in the manager. Everyone has to know that something broke in production. And of course, DevOps engineers. Now you are given this job to ace in this particular situations. If you are not doing something, like instantly you look at all of these war rooms and you feel like, okay, now no, leave the sleep, let me do something as well. And as DevOps engineers, you have a lot of things to do. And personally, actually, you are the right people to fix the issue, at least to take the issue towards fixing it. Now, as DevOps engineers, you start with the initial triage, right? So you look at the Grafana dashboards, the Prometheus dashboards, which are actually built to, actually work in these situations. You also look at logs, Elasticsearch, Logstash, whatever it is. And a lot of metrics out there. You look at the metrics and you perform some trial and error. Now, guess what? In all of these things, like the over enthusiastic engineers working, DevOps engineers working, who wins the race? What is the solution 90% of the times? Any guesses? This one. So 90% of the times, I have been working as a software engineer for 12 years. Maybe, and not maybe, I'm 100% sure, 95% of the times, the issue is fixed by restarting. Okay, back then it used to be restarting virtual machines. Now we are restarting Kubernetes pods. And see, I mean, if you look at the business side, to some extent, you are prone to do that, right? Because initially, you start debugging the issue. All those war rooms make sense in the night. But early morning, you start seeing customers pushing you. During the night time, it's okay. Okay, imagine HDFC Bank, just taking the name, going down at 3 a.m. in the night. It's okay, right? You are a DevOps engineer, 3 a.m. in the night, not a lot of customers, so maybe the payment gateway is not working. You will work towards it. But 8 a.m. in the morning, 9 a.m. in the morning, when actual transactions hit, now you are, you don't have a lot of time. So you receive a kind of suggestion from the management, you receive suggestion from the architect. Let's restart it for now. We'll look at the issue later. Probably we'll debug it in the lower environment, we'll debug it in the staging environment. Let's restart it now. And guess what? It actually works, right? And here comes the interesting part. This slide is just on a lighter note. It does not have a lot of sense to what I'm talking today, but and this is fun for me. Actually, whenever incidents happen, I just wait for the root cause analysis meetings. Because what you did is restarting Kubernetes, but what you end up writing in the RCA documents, right? You all must have seen this, right? In the RCA documents, we use words like cascading network partition, gRPC handshake, which has nothing to do with it. We all know it. But yeah. And there are also comments on the RCA document. Someone says, oh, no. Let me comment. I also want to take part in the RCA. So, yeah. So, this is all happening in today's world, right? We all agree to it. How many of you have gone through this entire thing that I spoke about? Right? Good. Lot of people. Now, I'll ask you a question. Why incidents in the world of observability? Right? In all of your companies, whoever is working as DevOps engineers in your companies, I'm sure you have set up observability, or the company has already built in observability, right? The previous engineers must have set up observability. And today we have like some of the great tools out there. We have Prometheus, we have Grafana, we pay a lot to Datadog. I saw a sponsor as well, Groundcar. They also do observability, right? So in the world of observability, why are we still waking up at 2 a.m. in the night? And why is that PagerDuty alert bothering us waking up in the night? Have you ever thought about it? Are we doing observability wrong? Not really. We are actually doing observability great. But still, this is happening because the infrastructure has evolved. 12 years back, if I have to build a company, or let's say, if I have to build, or I'm an engineer, I have to help my company build something, I would simply create a front-end application, back-end application, and put the data in the database. 3 services, 3 virtual machines, my job is done. or let's say database is in outside the virtual machine, my job is done. But today, it's not the case, right? Today, we are dealing with 300 microservices, 400 microservices. In fact, the more number of microservices, we feel the architecture is good, right? So this is one of the reasons. And today we are not deploying to virtual machines anymore. We are deploying to a very complex system out there that we call Kubernetes. Okay, so Kubernetes is one of the main reasons why there are a lot of incidents. In fact, if you go back, if you retrospect, if you look at your RCA, a lot of issues actually come for Kubernetes. Of course, it's a great platform, but still, this is one of the main reasons why today, even though our systems are observable, we are running into issues on production. And also, we are dealing with multi-cloud environment. We are dealing with CI/CD every hour. Typically, the path to the request, it's no longer easy. It's not that I have a application, front-end application on a virtual machine. Request from the load balancer goes to the front-end machine, then to the backend, then to the database. No. Today, initially request goes to the, let's say you're using Edge. Request goes to CDN. It goes to API gateway. Then it goes to your core services. And then it goes to the recommendation systems like caching systems. Then the request goes to the database. So one of the main reasons why, even though the systems are observable, we are running into production issues is because of the modern infrastructure. And also, of course, this modern infrastructure is throwing a lot of alerts, right? So if you look at your observability system and if you look at alerts that are configured by the DevOps engineers, by the SRE engineers, and see the amount of logging, see the amount of metrics, there are millions, right? You have millions of metrics per day. You have a lot of logging that is coming in. So as a human, it is impossible. This dashboard definitely looks good. We all aim to build these dashboards, right? We want to build such fancy Prometheus, Grafana dashboards. But by looking at this dashboard, as a human, can you tell me if there is something wrong with it? Unless you configure alert for every possible situation, right? If you configure alert for every possible situation, then yes, you would get an email, you would get message on Slack that, okay, something is going wrong. But as human, it is not possible. You can only look at issues to some certain extent. This is where machines come into picture. Okay, so we are getting into the actual topic after putting in the why aspect. Now comes the actual thing, the machines. How many of you know if AIOps is generative AI or traditional AI? Hands up if you think if it is generative AI. Okay, few hands. How many of you think this is traditional AI? Okay, you all have done your homework. Great. Some of my questions are going wrong here, but yeah. So AIOps is using traditional AI where you use machine learning. There are some good models out there. For example, a model from Spark. So what you do, you introduce ML models into your system and you let ML models to look at these dashboards. Okay. Now imagine what happens when a machine learning model starts looking at this dashboard, then it understands the issue even for the alerts that you haven't created, right? So, and also one more thing, apart from it looking at the dashboards, it looking at it throwing the alerts for you. Another thing is that when it comes to the anatomy of the failures today, it doesn't come from one single source. Again, going back to the same thing, we are dealing with multiple microservices, we are dealing with caching systems, we are dealing with databases. So today, even if there is a single issue, let's say payment service has gone down or payment service is running into latency issues, still there is no one single alert. Alert comes from your caching system, alert comes from your database, from your primary application, from your CDN, different sources. So what machine learning can also do for you, or AI can also do for you, it can put all the issues together, it can summarize and it can tell you this is the single alert. Okay, you don't have to create all those war rooms. Let me create one for you. And this is the actual issue. Moreover, when we talk about alerts, this is the first alert that we learn, right? When you learned observability, when you learned Prometheus, I'm sure this is the first one that you have created. CPU greater than 80%. And still today in the organizations, we create these kind of alerts. CPU greater than 80%, HTTP request more than 1000, right? Or latency X amount. Then let me know. Throw an alert. What this leads to, you are pushing humans to create more and more alerts, which is taking 40% of their time. If you are looking into production issues as a DevOps engineer, as an SRE engineer, you know a lot of your time actually goes into it. So this is where AIOps is going to help you. Once again, I just have everything put in this slide. So how AIOps actually works? You need to have your existing observability stack. It's not going to replace anything related to observability. On top of your observability stack, you are going to put in the intelligence system. That is, you are going to put in the ML models. And then it is going to take care of the incident management. Everything that we saw is automated by AI system. Some of the core capabilities of AIOps include anomaly detection. What is anomaly detection? I'll give a very simple example. When you configure an alert, you look for CPU greater than 80%. But what if CPU goes from 20% to 70% in 2 seconds? Would your alert fire? No, right? And then instantly it can go to 100%. But what you configured is for 80%. So at the same moment, your alert breaks. What AI system can do, it can constantly track your dashboards. It can see if there is any anomaly, if there is any sudden spike in the CPU. It can be from 20 to 40, can be from 20 to 30. But if the pattern is unusual, it instantly detects and it sends you a notification on your Slack or on your email. Apart from that, it can also do root cause analysis because you have given entire picture of your system to AI. Again, I'm talking about traditional AI. And the future stage, I'll talk about it in a while, but these are the capabilities of AIOps at the point. Okay, and one more thing is that eliminating the noise. When it comes to AIOps, all that noise that we discussed about, like noise of incident management channels, noise of false issues, 90 out of 100 issues or 90 out of 100 alerts that you get are actually false alerts. Only 10 alerts are actually right. Even that noise can be eliminated by AIOps. This is a very interesting statistic. I took it from Gartner. 2023, the revenue or the total market of AIOps was just 11.7 US dollars, billion US dollars. By 2028 or by end of 2027, this can go up to 40.2 billion US dollars. And imagine what happens when AIOps moves to the next level. That is when AIOps is integrated with generative AI. This is going to be the future. Right now, AIOps is just traditional AI. The machine learning models automating the process to some extent. The next step would be it integrating with generative AI. So by the time a message is sent to Slack, there is a Slack bot or there is LLM bot out there. It receives the issue and it automatically fixes the issue for you so that you don't have to wake up at 2 a.m. in the night. Of course, we are very far away from that, but that is going to be the future of LLM ops or future of AIOps with generative AI. So this is the right time if you are looking for a new skill and if you want to learn something, probably if you want to ace in your DevOps profile, you want to take your career to the next level, this is a very good skill. And combined with LLM ops, combined with large language models, there is a very good future out there. So this is the scenario that's going to happen. I just try to show in a slide. Now we started talking about AIOps, and finally we will be moving towards the complete new phase of operations, that is going to be the self-healing operations, AIOps plus LLMs. If you want to try out AIOps, let's say after this session you want to give it a try even before you try it in your organization. These are wonderful open source projects. You can try it for free. You can do your proof of concept. They are very, very easy. OpenObserve platform that I really like. In fact, I use them in my freelancing projects to demonstrate AIOps solution before going to the enterprise solution. Perfect. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for having me here.